Hello and welcome to the workshop here at Weapons Grade Guitars. Now, today we've got quite a fun video. We're going to be refinishing this Virgil body. Yeah, this is a lovely flamed maple top on an older body. All the routing, all the hard work's done. There was a cock up in the first finish, so what we're going to do is be preparing this body for a new restain. We do hand rubbed oils here, and then we're going to be finishing it with a lacquer for a nice satin finish in the end. So, should be quite a bit of fun. Now, the first part of this process is going to be removing the string furrows here. We can't be doing any more sanding on this body until these are out. There's no point keeping them in. We're going to replace them with some nice fresh ones. So that is the first job. The way I'm going to remove these is quite simple. Basically, what I've got here is a impact driver or a drill or anything like that, and then a screw. I'm just going to pop the screw in the hole I drilled for the bridge. Drill through like that, and what that does is just pushes out the furrow on the back. Then I just grab some pliers and remove it. Easy as that. Then just get the drill and repeat the process. So now we've got the furrows out, the next thing to do is sand this down to a grade where we can actually finish it, which for me is about 600 grit. At the minute, this body is sanded to 80 grit, so it's really rough. So what I'm gonna do is take the orbital sander here and then work my way up through the grit. So we're gonna start at 80, again, make sure the whole body's in 80 grit, and then work our way stage by stage up to 600 in increments. So this will take a while, but it'll be worth it. We're gonna end up with a nice smooth body, and that's gonna be perfect for us to then grain fill and put some stain on this. Sanding up the grits like this is one of those processes that you can try and streamline, and the orbital sander really helps for doing the front and back, but you do eventually need to get the hand paper out for the sides and inside the horns and things like that, so it can be a very time-consuming process.
2,000 years later.
Well, a couple hours later, a lot more dust and a very sore wrist. We have the body sanded down to 600 grit. It feels lovely and smooth to the touch. Yeah, I'm happy with that, I'm pleased. Now, what I'm going to show you is a little trick that I like to do at this stage, because it's very hard for the naked eye to see micro scratches and things like that in wood. You know, you've been working on something for a while, you kind of get a bit dazed to it, you've seen it for a long while, and it's hard, you miss little things. And a good way of alleviating that problem is white spirit. Now, white spirit, mineral spirits, whatever, evaporates very quickly, but it will give you an idea of what imperfections are left in the wood. If there's a little scratch, it'll be highlighted by the white spirit, but that will evaporate away. It's not like oil, where it's going to stay on the wood, or water, where you're going to get grain rise. I'll show you what I mean. So I've got this rag here, I'm just going to put a little bit of white spirit on it, not much, and then give it a rub. And hold on a second, autofocus playing up. You can see that's really bringing out the flame now, so we can see the kind of beauty that we're working with here. But what I'm looking for is any kind of scratch, imperfection. Obviously this has still got some color in the grain from when the last finish was applied. I'm not worried about that really. The new dye will cover that up. So I'm just checking really closely now to see if there's any little nick or mark left by the orbital sander or anything like that. And this front looks pretty good. Let's go over to the back. Same thing, white spirit on. Give it a good rub. It's on an easy Harriet now.
Give your meat a good old rub. That's it.
Let's do that. Yeah, that is looking fine too. That's annoying. I did hope there was going to be something I could show you, but turns out I've done a pretty good job, which is good and bad. Bad for demonstration. Right, so after examining the whole thing for scratches, I know we're good on that front. It's gonna take the stain nicely and we can get a finish on there. The next thing I wanna do is just a minor grain fill. Now, you know, we're working with older and flame maple here, so it's not going to be too massive, the amount of fill we're going to need. But what it's going to do basically is just put a really thin layer of grain filler in any small porous holes or anything like that. So when we go to put the oils and the finish on this guitar, we're not going to have any lumps and bumps, and it's going to be pleasing to the touch and to the eye. Fingers crossed. Right, so what we've got here is our pot of grain filler. What I'm going to do is just give that a little stir. And yeah, it's quite chunky stuff, as you can see. It's quite chunky. So what we're going to do is actually mix this down with some mineral spirits, and then we can add it to the guitar. So I'm going to get a few chunks of this stuff out, like so. Some mineral spirits. Just give it a little splash, like that. And you can see these start immediately breaking down and becoming like a paste. Just using a pencil here to get it to the level that I want. Just mashing it down. And this is just really, really fine, it's almost like really fine sand that we're just gonna rub into the grain and build up a bit of a protective layer. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to apply it with really, really high grit sandpaper. So I'm going to put some of this on the guitar now, like so. This is 2500 grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to rub the filler in. Dab on the plate and rub it in. Dab on the plate and rub it in. So the idea of using sandpaper to put it in is that what you're doing is making really fine bits of dust, as well as the filler. So you're going to get kind of best of both worlds in that, you know, you're going to get small pieces of dust also being set into the wood, as well as the filler itself. Now I've done the front, back and sides on that, I'm gonna give it about half an hour and then go over again with 600 grit sandpaper just to level it off once more. And then we'll be ready to do a water test and apply the stain. Right, the next thing we're going to do is what's called a water test, and the idea of this is to eliminate grain rise. And what grain rise is basically, doesn't matter how finely you've sanded down the wood, you have micro grains in the wood like that, and when water gets applied to them, they hydrate and stick up. And way too small to see with the human eye, but you can feel them, and finishes really don't like any kind of bumpy surfaces. They want everything to be completely level. Now the thing about the finishes we use here at Weapons Grade is they're all water-based dyes. So if we don't do a few water coats first, we're going to end up with a colour finish that is full of bumps and rises. So what we're going to do is put a few coats of water onto the body, sand down to 600 grit, coats of water, sand down to 600 grit until we have a steady, smooth, flat surface. So when we go to put the water dye on the guitar, we're not going to have any bumps or niggles or anything like that. It's going to be a flat, smooth surface. So let's get on with that. What we have here is a rag that's slightly coated in water, and I'm going to rub this onto this incredibly smooth guitar, which has been sanded, as I said, down to 600 grit, so it's really smooth. And already now I can feel the grain starting to rise and pop. And I'm going to do that on every side, in the horns, on the underside, on the back. Any place we're going to be putting stain, which on this particular model is everywhere. Just grab a bit more water on this, rinse it out a bit, and keep coating. Get inside the horns. Nice. Right. Yeah, that is feeling now very, very unsmooth. So So what we're going to do is get the handy dandy hairdryer. That's a joke, by the way. This is a heat gun. Gonna put it on low heat and just go over the body, dry off that water. Now that's done. Gonna grab our orbital sander again, 600 grit pad, and we're gonna sand off all those micro bumps. Now that's done, I'm gonna repeat the process 3 more times. Yay, joy. Right, now that's done, this guitar body is ready to stain. And for this particular model with this flame maple, I'm thinking a crimson red, light sunburst to black edges and a black back. So yeah, let's get coloring. For my primary coat here, I'm using this poppy colour by a great company called Village Green, and I absolutely love their wood stains. They're absolutely lovely, ever such vivid colours. And whenever I'm doing this kind of stuff, really what I'm trying to do is basically get a base coat down, get the whole thing in the colour that I want the centre to be, the vibrancy I want the centre of the burst to be, and then start building and building and building on top of that base coat. It's a long process, but I find it enormously enjoyable. This part of the job is such fun, and one reason why I'm so committed to using hand rub stains as opposed to more conventional spraying techniques is that every guitar is somewhat different. I mean, you can have the same colour scheme, you know, the same idea behind the stain, but your overall finish will be slightly different to anyone else's. So every single guitar is completely unique. And as you can see here, I'm just applying the, quite liberally now, applying this base poppy stain over the body. And I'm trying to speed things up here a little bit. This was quite a long time, condensed down. Now I'm getting the ebony stain in from the same company, same brand, and this is such a great, strong black colour. What I'm really trying to do with this is make it look muddy and fiery and kind of evil looking. And so to do that, I'm dragging some of this black, this dark ebony across the flame maple and really bringing out that red. As you can see, I think it came out pretty damn nicely there. Right, there is the final result from the stain. I think it's come out really nice. What I was looking for is this kind of muddy red to black fade. It looks evil and gnarly and pretty sweet. So what I'm going to do now is leave this overnight, let the stain set in, and then I'm going to do a bit of a cleanup, get the dust out of it, and then on to the finish, which for this is going to be a satin nitro base finish. So yeah. Well, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some stuff. Making guitars is such a passion of mine. I absolutely love it, and it's when you get to this stage and you start putting the colours on and feeling how smooth it is that the results and hard work really start to make themselves known and pay off. So if you're interested in my guitars, the website will be going up soon. This is a pretty new business, so we're just kind of working for local clients at the minute, but soon the website will be up and I'll be launching our first ever range of electric hardtail guitars. So please do stay tuned for that. Give a like and subscribe if you like the content, and I will see you soon.